Hey everybody, Buzzsaw Gaming here, bringing to you my top 5 Sega Genesis games. Right there, my little retro gaming buddy, Mr. Buzzsaw, hanging out on the Sega Genesis, relaxing. And in the background, we've got Golden Axe on the CRT, playing right now. Now, Sega Genesis, I didn't really grow up with. I didn't have one, but I played Sega Genesis a lot in the arcade and at friends' houses. So that's my experience with Sega Genesis when it was out, when it was competing against Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx 16. I was more in the TurboGrafx 16 and Nintendo camp at that time, and that's what I collected for. Although I always wanted to have a Sega Genesis. I mean, it was just so cool. I thought it was such a good looking system. I liked the games a lot, so I really enjoyed Sega Genesis when I got it later in life. So cool. Right there, the arcade stick for Sega Genesis with 3 buttons. So nostalgic, it's curved, I love it. The controller right there, I've always really liked the Sega Genesis controller, the big Batman controller with those 3 big buttons. I've always loved it, more than the 6-button controller was my favorite. And the Model 1 was also my favorite. The high definition, 16-bit Model 1 Sega Genesis, absolutely loved it. I mean, I remember going into stores and seeing the advertisements of the Sega Genesis, with Sonic and also with Altered Beast and, the flames in the background. And I always wanted one, but, as a kid, you can't get everything, right? There's only some things that you can get. Mr. Buzzsaw thought that was boring. Anyways, this is a top 5 with a couple honorable mentions. The 2 honorable mentions I have right now here are Alicia Dragoon and Road Rash 2. I mean, I tried to narrow it down to 1, but I figured could have those 2 right there. Absolutely awesome games. Alicia Dragoon, such a cool game, such a fun concept. I love those kind of games. Now, I should probably caveat that this is my favorite game, so it doesn't mean it's your favorite games. I kind of gravitated towards arcade games with Sega Genesis, which is what I remember it most as. So I picked up the arcade games. Those are the ones that I played when I was young. Those are the ones that are my favorite. And then Road Rash 2 right there. It's the small car Road Rash 2, not the big giant ones that you see out there. I got the small one, so it matches all the others. I mean, it's so much fun to have a motorcycle game where you go around and you can, kick and punch and use weapons and stuff. So I just thought it was an awesome game. Absolutely loved it. Those are my 2 honorable mentions right there. Alicia Dragoon, Road Rash 2. Now going into my top 5. Right there, Strider. I have it complete in box. I should also mention that I also really like Sega Genesis, the boxes themselves, these clamshell plastic cases. They're just much, much better than anything that Nintendo had, that cardboard, that I have a bunch of it, Super Nintendo games that are just falling apart. But this cardboard is forever. I mean, this plastic is forever, it seems. I just love the way it is. I wish more consoles would have used these plastic clamshells. It's just absolutely wonderful. Stores the manual inside, the game clips in. Absolutely perfect. Loved it. So number 5, Strider. I mean, this is just a visual, masterpiece, I thought. It's just so cool. That sword that they have, that it goes through. I mean, it's just really cool the way you're jumping around, jumping on walls. It was just so much fun. So that's why it's number 5. It's arcadey type hits. That's what I love Sega Genesis for. I really like Strider. I thought it was so cool. I know there's some newer Striders. I never played them. I just played the original. Going on to number 4. Alien Storm, right there. Another super cool Sega property. I just absolutely love it, how you're just beating up on aliens. You got these weird lasers. You got aliens hiding in trash cans. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And it changes out to a, Mr. Buzzsaw agrees. And it changes out to a, like a first person type shooter at some parts. So it's just got a lot of cool stuff going on. The theme, I mean, Alien Storm. I mean, look at that art too. I mean, same with Strider. I mean, look at that art. Just, I love this era of gaming. This, you know, 4th generation, you know, 16-bit era. I mean, it's my favorite. I just absolutely love this kind of stuff. So, you know, Alien Storm, so much fun. And number 3, Altered Beast. So proud to be a 16-bit cartridge right there. Absolutely loved it. I mean, that was so much fun. I remember seeing this on store walls as far as like the Sega Genesis that came with Altered Beast, and seeing that and then just, you know, wanting to get one. I never did, obviously. But the Altered Beast here, I mean, it's so close to the arcade version. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. I remember going and playing with buddies. Now, back in the day, there used to be an arcade, you know, not too far from where I grew up. And, you know, it was a thing where often on birthdays, you know, the kids, parents of the kids would rent out the whole arcade. It was a smaller arcade, but it had a lot of these Sega Genesis games in there. And I remember just playing these games in the arcade, absolutely loving it. I mean, that's my history really with Sega Genesis. That and going over to friends' houses and playing Sega Genesis. And yeah, that was my memories really. So Altered Beast, so much fun, such a classic, such an original game. I mean, you know, you got to go through. I mean, my experience with Sega Genesis is arcades, so that's what I like the most out of Sega Genesis. That's to me that feels the most Sega Genesis. I mean, look at that art too. I mean, the Altered Beast. I mean, that's absolutely awesome. So cool. Number 2, Outrun. I love that picture right there. It's so much fun. I mean, Outrun, the really cool racing game. I love the tracks. I love the experience of it. I love the music of it. It's so great. I love it when you're going around corners and your friend in the passenger seat is like you know, waving her arm and stuff. It's just a fun game. It's just simple. It's just that arcade magic that Sega Genesis brought home. You know, absolutely love it. I mean, none of these games are really expensive. They're all, I think, even to this day, they're relatively inexpensive. I think Outrun might be a little bit more, but you know, that's what I liked. I mean, I don't have the experience of the Sega Genesis with the other games. I know there's a great Contra game. There's a great Castlevania game as well. I just don't have experience with those games, so I'm sure they would be on this list if I did, but I kind of missed the boat on those games, so I just focused on these arcade hits. And Outrun right there, absolutely awesome. I know there's a newer version. There's a version of Outrun that's on the original Xbox and things like that. That's really cool. I never played it, and I think it's up in value now. So unfortunately, you know, unless I find it luckily somewhere somehow for a, you know, less expensive price, I'm probably not gonna pick it up. But anyways, number 2, Outrun. Absolutely love it. And number 1, the original Golden Axe. Now this is the one I have the most nostalgia at. This is the number 1 game whenever I went to the arcade. This is the one I gravitated to. Was always playing this, and it was a perfect co-op game. I mean, you could have 2, 3, you know, 4 people playing, you know, in the arcades. It was so much fun. You're jumping on that dragon. I like the theme of it. I really loved it. You know, I wish, you know, I know there's a Golden Axe 2, but I wish Sega would have brought this stuff out like in the Dreamcast and stuff like that, because it's such a cool property. It's such a cool theme. You know, I just like this kind of like, you know, medieval dragons and this kind of theme. It's just a really awesome. Absolutely love it. I mean, here I had, you know, I had to collect a complete in box with the manual. You know, like I was saying before, I absolutely loved, you know, these boxes, how cool they are, how sturdy they are. Absolutely fun. I mean, absolutely loved it. You know, Golden Axe right there, my number 1 pick for Sega Genesis. I do have a modest collection, and I didn't, you know, grow up with it, but absolutely love it. They're spanning out. Mr. Buzzsaw coming out to the front. Anyways, there's the entire collection right there. You can see my honorable mentions: Alicia Dragoon, Road Rash 2, number 5 Strider, number 4 Alien Storm, number 3 Altered Beast, number 2 Outrun, number 1 Golden Axe right there. And playing in the background also is Golden Axe right there. So thank you so much. I appreciate all the kind comments. You guys make me laugh sometimes in the comments that I read. It's really funny. So anyways, please like, share, subscribe. You know, it really helps to tell somebody else that, you know, that's into this retro stuff, that this channel exists. And, you know, it's Mr. Buzzsaw loves seeing his, his channel grow. Anyways, take care. Have a nice day. Mr. Buzzsaw, signing out.